Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone and all the same. Been a while since I've read. I don't often do these readings, but I've been offering things to people. But anyways, long story short, for those who are new to my channel, my name is Jose. Welcome. I'm basically what I'd like to coin as a micro-astrologer. So I work with over 180 asteroids. Gives a lot of detail, like a lot of details and precision into my readings. Helps me with cut down, or rather go into the nitty gritty or the details of what I need to read. Not many astrologers do that, so I thought, I should try that. Do my own research on it. So anyways, in this reading, it was very interesting because I felt there's a certain flow that was going through. I was able to cut down a lot of things that I usually do. Although the reading went for about 2 hours, hopefully it'll still be valuable information. You can skip through whatever you can. I should technically try to do like time stamps. I yet to figure that out particularly, but this reading was still fun. So I like these combined readings where it's not just a micro-astrology, but also horary in this case. So I don't get to do horary that often, but when I do, it's quick, simple, easy peasy. So far, it's traditional astrology versus modern astrology. But anyways, I hope you enjoy the reading. I'll see you at the end afterwards, on the other side, and thank you. The two. Okay, here we go. All right. So welcome. Thank you for coming to R. Is that very queen of me? Does R? Remember, doesn't the queen use that? Oh, before, sorry. The what do you call that? The late queen.
Oh, Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. Doesn't she use R? Didn't she use R? Wasn't that very okay, never mind. Okay. Sorry, never mind. I'm Canadian, by the way, so we share the same now it's king, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and whatever.
cool.
Anyways, okay, we're not gonna get political here. So, and Merry Christmas Eve, I suppose. I don't know.
Christmas Eve,
Yes,
Thia.
that's right.
Yeah.
So this is cool. All right. So based on the question you asked, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna save the kind of yes or no question based on your question is this new job financially beneficial?
Mhm.
Um, which I thank you for, because then that means I work with a different chart this time. So I work with different disciplines in astrology. Um, yeah. But we're gonna go with the spiritual. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with the if it is actually beneficial, like through the charts directly, like through your chart. So we're
Mhm.
gonna open this up. And I'm gonna share it just for the sake of this whole thing, like the channel and all that stuff. Not that you'd be like, what is that? I know people get that all that. That's okay. Okay, let's see what I get here. Uh, you think I know how to work this? Restriction screen. You're restricted from screen sharing. Really? Okay. Why am I restricted from screen sharing? Okay, never mind. I guess I can't share. I don't know what. I'm the account holder. That's weird. Okay, I'm just gonna have to talk about it. Never mind. Forget it. Just
Cool.
don't worry about it. It's okay. Okay. So what I see here is uh, I have the same placements. Okay, so we're looking at first the solar arc directions. Okay. So I see here that according to this, there's going to be some sort of slowing down with your career. Um, Something old's probably coming in, old and also something of the past, something that will create some sort of will give you more lessons, so to speak. Like it's we have Saturn here in a solar arc chart. What that means is just that it's kind of like when you look at solar arc charts in astrology, it's like I've learned that it's kind of like things that might come about that are part of you still, part of your progress,
Mhm.
internal. Transits in astrology is more about external things. So it can work both ways in this case. But I'm seeing here the solar arc, progress solar arc Saturn is in your 10th house, and it's actually conjunct to your natal Mars. Natal Mars in this case means the Mars that's in your chart. Mind you, so in astrology, planets often represent aspects of our psyche, of ourselves. So you have your maybe your Mars self, which is usually the assertive, angry, um, kind of very go-getter, kind of very
Mhm.
like yeah, this is usually tied to that kind of energy. That's that aspect of ourselves, right? So same thing with the other planets, the same. So Saturn here is showing me that it's there's something that needs to be revisited, so to speak. Kind of, it's almost karmic. It can be, but not really. It's not in any house. It's in the 10th house, which is the house of career, house of vocations, reputation. It's also the ego. Ego as in it could be the healthy or unhealthy ego. Either way, depends. I see here because it's your Mars is squaring Venus. It's oh, you have an intercepted house. Uh So it's almost like more lessons are to be brought forward, but something old and something it's almost like I'm hearing something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. It's almost like, is that a wedding thing? Uh yeah, so that's what I'm getting. Let me open up another chart here. Or not a chart, my second here. Here we go. I use cheat sheets. It's I'm not like other astrologers where they prepare so much for it and it's like they
Yeah.
write things down. It's like no, mine's like no, I'm not doing that. It's a waste of time. I that's why I have cheat sheets and I'm like, why memorize it? Uh okay, let's take a look. Okay, here we go. Uh so something to do with people who are like who own things, but usually older people, older ager people, out the elderly population or something like that. But it could also be like minor executives, something to do with law enforcement. I don't know what that is. Landowners or civil servant employees, or in this case, maybe the employer. Um, what am I seeing here? Uh, there's more here. One second. People who are probably Orthodox. I don't know what this is. People who are good at uh, some kind of mentor. I don't know if you have a mentor at work, this new job. Yes.
Part of the role that I will be mentoring people.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So this is okay. So that's part of that as well. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if it's with justice system or something where it's either you're helping people with age or something to do that's related to wisdom. Like there's probably a lot of things to be learned in this job. It can be kind of slow paced. I don't know if it has anything to do also with uh, a lot of duty work, really like hard work, like heavy materials, agricultural things, like a farmhouse or building. The law, okay, so judging, the law judges, probably also barristers or I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, barristers, bankers. Maybe it's something to do with comedy. I don't know. Or maybe there's some kind of comedy there. I don't know what that is. Uh, Script writing or someone might be there who's like a clown, something very ironic. It's tied to this energy. And or bricklaying, mining, pottery, plumbing. I don't know what sextons are. I forgot what that is. I think it's a kind of outfit or something like that. I'm not sure. Gardening, farming, excavating, archaeology, tanning, anything, like I said, anything that is very like old, so to speak, like that kind of stuff. It might also kind of carry some sort of maybe there might be blocks, necessary blocks, I would say. It is square your Venus here, so that means when it comes to your health, this is going to affect you a bit more. Um, to look more into inflammation that you experience if you're stressed at work, if it's too
Mm.
much, that might inflame parts of your body, particularly your stress hormones, the adrenal glands, kidneys, that kind of stuff. I know I'm not doing medical stuff just because you're asked about specifically about if it's beneficial, but
Mm.
this isn't really answering if it is, because that's ultimately up to you. But we'll get to the horary chart later when what questions, what answers they'll give. Uh, okay, let's see here. Let's square that, and then you have also here. Oh, it's your Saturn, Mars, Make. Okay, this could also mean that there can be opportunities, but it's gonna something that's probably gonna really challenge you. Not to be scary or anything. I'm just saying. That's what I'm getting here. Oh, sorry, 1 second here. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, there might be some sort of challenges regarding being creative, like you really like connecting with insight and knowledge
Mm.
and your intuition. Um, I don't know if it has anything to do with reverence for life. Um, Maybe consciousness might be kind of an issue at work. People you work with might not necessarily be aware of what they say or what they do and how they relate. It's in we have your Makamake in Libra. So to me that means that it's there's a square there. It's often a challenge, but it'll keep you kind of on your. I guess it'll keep you on your feet. Like keep you on. What is that phrase we say? Keep you up. Keep
On
you on
your
your toes.
toes.
Yeah, you'd be on your toes all the time. Not all the time, maybe, but it is high energy because of the Mars placement here.
Mm.
Um, so I mean that's part of your path here as well. Anyways, your path is to learn all that, but also to dissolve your own beliefs about it, your philosophy, your values with what you and how you feel about these things as well. Um, because you have your moon in Sagittarius, it's conjunct Neptune there. With and then it goes into it conjuncts your your midheaven. Conjunct just in astrology just means it's like together,
Okay.
with a specific degrees. If you see that again, I couldn't share the chart. I don't know why. Uh, uh, but anyways, let's see here. What else am I seeing? So yeah, this is part of your mission to have that sort of like sense of certainty. Like it's actually your placement, your midheaven, the midheaven itself is because it's in Capricorn, it's right at home in the 10th house. It feels like it's you're very good at when it comes to your work, but again, it challenges you to some degree with relationships. But somehow you don't, there's a part of you that just feels disconnected from that, or at least you used to more now that you're awakened. So there's this thing that's happening. Let me look into your progress chart itself. 1 second. I want to see if your sixth house and 12th house cusp are no longer, if your houses here are no longer intercepted. Let's take a look. Yeah, they're not intercepted right now. So you probably have been able to feel that. You've been able to sense that it's like, Oh, when it comes to work, I don't know, maybe that's why you quit your job in the first place, or you maybe quit before, or you weren't happy with it because you're starting to sense like, wait a second, I'm not relating well with people here. Like the people I work with, it's just like, I
Mm.
don't feel good about that one. Um, and that actually, like, especially with your sun in Leo, it's like you don't feel like because it's tied to reputation, Leos don't like to look bad in front of people, right? They don't resonate with that. They want to always shine in front of people because they want to lead people into shining themselves. They like that, right? That energy. Your sun is actually it's actually closer to the sixth house. So you have a tendency to be more when it comes you're more like work oriented, Leo. You're like, I want to serve, I want to do this. But what happens is that when it becomes routine, watch out for things that become routine and habits, right? They do tend to become unconscious things. And that's one of the challenges you have in this particular incarnation is you have your sixth house and your 12th house intercepted in your birth chart, which is always the dominant energies. It's still the lessons you're learning in this life. Um, and what's happening here is that because they're intercepted, it's almost like when you were born, at least growing up, you were unconscious of your unconscious and your subconscious. It's almost like you had to kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, it's almost like there's an irony behind it. It's almost like you are conscious that you're not conscious, that you are unconscious. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing here in terms of what is that? Let's see if there's anything else here. So that's the big one when it comes to that. I want to see if there's a connection between your Mars itself or Saturn to your second house. Let's see here. Oh, I don't know about this one. I'm a little worried about, not worried. I'm a little apprehensive, but okay, we'll see. So what happens here? We have the solar arc chart, like the ascendant conjunct north node. You're actually here to fulfill learning. You're here to work on discovering the gifts that you had from past lives, from past parallel lives rather, um, and uh, how you can actually show people. It's almost like I'm surprised you're not in doing any sort of teaching or sharing of information. Do you do that online at all? Do you have social media or do you share information a lot? Because that's what. Oh, do you feel more drawn to being more solitary quite often?
Um,
Has that changed?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay,
yeah. I'm more of an insular person.
okay. So that means that but what your soul wants to learn here is to spread it out there. Whatever kind of knowledge or experience rather knowledge you've experienced from experience of your past lives, that's your natural healer actually. I'm seeing here. Um, but your healing has a lot to do with the knowledge. This is why you probably kind of hesitate to share because you're like, I don't know if I got the right information. I don't know if this is even useful. I don't know if I can relate with people. It's almost like your skills have remained kind of hidden and kept to yourself. No offense. But it's like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm seeing here with you have your yeah. So it's okay to do all that stuff. So well, okay. Yeah. S- Oh, that's why you keep to yourself. It's not that you're private. It's more like, or at least when the previous past parallel lives, your South Node is originally in Libra, and you're here to learn how to not per se be a teacher, um, but more so be, how do you call this? Work more with your emotions, um, because I know that, let's see here. Is there any square to your north node? Oh, you can do that. You naturally work with that. Like you have, yeah, you've learned to really be assertive, and take the lead. Let's see here. So, but the work that needs to be put here is to how to heal, more like how to heal how you communicate, how you express yourself. Because there's with Leo, there's a lot of pride. I know this. I've seen
Mm.
this. One of my friends is like that. Um, so, but at least you don't have your sun in Cancer because they do. They tend to very. There's a lot of pride with the emotion. It's almost like they tend to go like this and like they kind of have a sort of a pity party. And I'm not trying
Right.
to be negative about that, but it's like I don't really hang out with them because it's like I don't want to hear that. Like, I mean, I there's a lesson for me to there too, but at the same time, just like, well, there's there's recognizing the mud or the shit in front of you. And there's it's one thing to recognize it, it's another thing to sit on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, um, so anyways, so yeah, so your past life gifts have a lot to do with diplomacy, really trying to balancing things. But sometimes your soul, so your soul here wants to do is to work that diplomacy and kind of really push it beyond the boundaries and be more like a kind of like a what do you call a renegade, so to speak.
Mm.
Not so much a renegade, but like yeah, because your whole chart is ruled by Mars. That's a big one actually. It's a good thing that you came to me. This is so like what do you call this? Serendipitous? Is that the right word? That's wonderful because your Mars is in the midheaven, but your Mars rules your whole chart. So it's almost like your mission and your whole self. It's like full of Mars. Like yeah, you're very assertive, but in a very grounded way. You're
Mhm.
very Capricorn energy there. Um, and even though your sun is in Leo, maybe people might say, okay, you're Leo, but so people might say you're actually double fire. I would say you're triple actually because of your ascendant. Okay, people probably have said that before. There's a lot of fire in you, but it's very concentrated fire, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
so what I'm seeing here also is, let's see if there's anything connected to both the solar arc Saturn and the Mars here. One second. So about 11 degrees. Oh, okay. This is where another part of you would have to work at. So earlier I said that one of the things you can work on that will actually naturally invigorate you is working through how you express your wounding. When I say wounding, I mean integrating the lessons that you've learned through the so-called loss and use that as a gift,
Yeah.
right? So in this case, a lot of it has to do with what am I seeing here? Uh, one second. Okay. Well, so do you often feel that when you talk, it's almost like you're very cautious about how you say things to others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, you can work through that, and that in a way that's a good thing because that means you are more conscious of what you say. But watch out for the emotions that come behind it and figure out why am I feeling this way? Because if it's too cautious, then it's no longer, you know what I mean? It's like it's no longer, yeah. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so don't worry about being perfect with how you communicate. Be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You're here to also learn about vulnerability because in past parallel lives, you're so used to balancing things. You're used to going, should I see this? Should I do that? And you kind of like, there's a teeter-totter sort of effect there, right? But there are times where you just gotta say it. Um, even with discernment, right? There's discernment can turn into doubt if it's too much discernment. It's like, what is
Mm,
that? Right? So,
yeah.
um, yeah. What else am I seeing here? Uh, so I see another placement here where the your Saturn actually is the term is called sextile to Keranos. Keranos is the Celtic god of abundance. He's always he has this thing where he has like a collar on. I forgot what it's called, but it's not locked in. And he's seen with pictures like with money under him, like coins, a bag of coins beside him, and he has these reindeer antlers on him. So he's very and there's this actual one. There's this one picture I saw. It's like, oh, he's kind of hot. There's horns, and I was like, but he's like in both kind of like, right. Anyways, so he represents nature, natural abundance, natural growth, anything you can think of. But Cernunnos here is in your eighth house. I believe it's in your eighth house. Yeah, it's no, no, it's in your seventh house. So that means it's about it's tied to the jobs that you would get into, are when you put effort into, or when you actually really put energy into um, working on specifically like your talents and working with all those things, that will be that benefits you in your any sort of vocation you get into, career path, especially like reputation, um, and you, uh, it's sort of it's very um, subtle. The differences are subtle here. Because I'm also seeing here that your seventh and your first house are also intercepted. So when you were younger, you had the disconnection to probably relating well with others and how you also express yourself to others. Um, but I believe that's also changed now. Double check that one. Yes, it's no longer intercepted. So you have only one intercepted house. Here it's all about Uh, your intercepted houses now are now the fifth and the 11th, so that means that they are about your individuality, your sense of freedom, the love that you receive and the love that you give. Those kind of things. You feel maybe there's a feeling of like, in a way, not a disconnect per se, but kind of a disconnect, but kind of like it's kind of veiled, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Um, how are we for time? Are you okay? Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Just making sure. Uh, So there's a lot of tenacity tied to this as well, and strength, endurance. You definitely have those. You have those I would say you have it in spades. Um, but there's a lot of talents there that can be really honed and also kind of discovered. Like it's almost like you might have to squeeze the toothpaste, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, your pain to pleasure and pain to purpose, I would say, is probably tied to this one. Leo also likes pleasure. Leo is wants to be kind of relaxed and that energy of like a cat.
Yeah.
Do what I want kind of thing, right? Um, let's see here. What else did I see? So Keranos is like that. Um, so a lot of the whole things regarding the ego, that's a big thing, especially for Leo. Um, whether there's a difference between cooperation and codependence, right? So huge difference, of course. We know this, obviously. But there can be sort of like even people who are dependent on you. Um, it's it's working with people, but it's sort of the tipping scale. I guess there's a balance between um, working with others and kind of having that imbalance between them. So this is where the gifts of the past can come in as well, where it's
Hmm.
like this is where you kind of figure out what it's like. Again, I'm not really answering the question yet if this is beneficial, but there can be sort of a rebirth process when it comes to this job as well. But it'll be like lessons you have to learn. This job will it feels like almost like this job is going to teach you to be more patient. You have a lot of fire in you already, right? But the earth is going to ground you a little bit more and be like, okay, let's let's hold off on things that I would say that makes you question what ego is.
Mm.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing
Yeah.
here. Okay, let's look at the transit. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. Now I do see now that core is transiting your 10th house right now, or at least yesterday, as of yesterday. It's right there, and it's I wish I could show it. What it's uh, uh hmm, it's weird. Yeah, I don't want to end the call and be like, call back. No, it's okay, because you have to log back in. That's okay. So we have core here in one second. Okay. So there can be a lot of creativity with this job because this is a little bit more outside of you. There's probably a lot of creative outlets for this job, like the company or the organization or the institution. Um, there's potential for that, but again, it's you're because it's the whole relationship thing. There might be something there too. Oh, Maki Maki is also there. Okay. So there's a lot of potential for that, but I guess what'll happen is you'll mm, it might start to, or it might feel like I wouldn't say necessarily the company itself, but possibly. But the feeling that the things outside of yourself, the things that come to you regarding your career is also tied to this. Things that have to do with feeling like you're energized. Maybe there might be some complexities as well. Um, it might bring about some sort of things that you're not aware of, like manifestations, or like this field job might feel like a bit sacred at times, but also not, because it's like it might test you to figure out what your inner creativity is, your inner creative power are,
Mm.
okay? Like the gifts and all that stuff. So, being responsive, having a deep connection to your work, um, probably, have you often put so much effort into your job? Like I know that Leos are good at task, or no, do you put a lot
Yeah.
of effort into your job?
Yeah.
Like,
I
okay,
do.
yeah, right. So there's a lot of energy that are really, really, really put in there. But you have, is it creative though? Do you know what I'm saying? So there's an opportunity for this job to help you be creative, not in the sense that it's actually like creative, like art and all that stuff, but it can be,
Yeah.
right?
That's correct.
hmm I'm seeing here that this something like maybe it's this job, maybe it's other types as well. There might be some sort of, did it feel almost predicted that you were going to get this job?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the job that saved you in a way,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Okay. Um, you felt kind of, oh, so when you got this, you felt there was a sort of like you felt chosen. You felt kind of, it's like a special, you felt like it's like, oh, wow, out of all the applicants. And did it feel like that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it could be transformative as well, of course. There might be, again, questions about harmony. There's something about that. Yeah. Again, long forgotten creative abilities is part of this. I don't know if you've ever worked with deities, but there's something about deities here. Something about the elements, all energies of life, all forms of life, actually. So I don't know if you'll come across literally like countless and countless numbers of not just energetically, but literally as well. at this job. It's almost like it's everywhere. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So
Interesting.
yeah, and it looks like it's a first job of its kind that you've had.
Yes, that would be
Okay.
correct.
Okay, cool. Uh, so it's not with law, so it's nothing to do with law, right? But there can be something, there is something with law though. There's something with law. Watch out for that. I don't know what that is, but the ethics, the moral codes,
Yeah.
um, watch out for bosses there or people in higher positions that are very controlling. Okay, so watch out for that.
Okay.
Um, let's see here. Any drama, watch out for those stuff, of course. Oh, it's an international company, right?
Yep,
Kind of.
it
Okay.
is.
It probably also multicultural, lots of foreigners, probably.
Yep.
Okay. Uh, hmm, I don't know if there's anything tied to historical figures here. Something about this. Um, and of course, communication. Watch out for how communication works there, right? You have to, just be discerning, not more discerning. Be discerning as best as you can with this one. Um, Maybe this job might be a sort of source of energy for you, or it may not. Depends.
Mhm.
Um, Again, there's a sort of a challenge that you have with your creative like your creativity itself. Um, I don't know if you'll be initiated into this job, like it feels like there's an initiation of this job or something like that. Um, there also might be no, oh, there might be either a lot of labeling at this job or non-labeling at all. Like maybe that includes non-binary individuals, non-label, genderless, those kind of like beliefs are not questioned, those kind of stuff, or the opposite, or somewhere in between. Um, so it's a beginning, yeah. Okay, there might be group work. Okay, so okay. Um, Whatever comes about, I think you'll be ready for it.
Yep.
Because you're very patient anyways. So that's what I'm saying here. So I feel like part of the answer to your question is that this job feels like it's how do you call this? It'll change. It might be it also might be, is it even no, that's not it here. Sorry, I'm looking at something else. Set 11. Oh, South Node. Okay. There might be stuff from the past that come forth with this job. um, People from the past who are probably going to offer you, it's the little things. People from the past or experiences from the past, knowledge from the past is coming through with this job that comes. I don't know if that makes sense. Like also pertaining to health, right? Is this pertaining a lot to health and the body?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it is connected to that. It's almost like you're going back to something that was familiar, but at the same time it's new.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So so it is pertaining to health. Okay. So yeah, so I think the key to this job in terms of if you also want to feel like it's, beneficial is doing the little things, right? So allow yourself to go through the little things with this job. And I know there might be also other things that come back to you, like people you're working with, people who might be under you.
Mm.
Um, I would say there's, because of its square to Makemake here, it's a transit. I feel like there's potential for some kind of promotion, but it's something that's could be quite challenging, right? It's a lot of it is tied to communication. Like we're talking like co-created communication where it's like it's a little bit like again it's discerned, it's like it's conscious, but it could also be unconscious. So those are that's the number one thing I would say watch out for, because how we feel and how we communicate those emotions, or how we actually express anything, or even what we say, how we say it, that's the key one, is going to be, that's going to affect anything, right? But here in this case, this job in particular, I think that's important.
Hmm.
Um, this is where the gifts of being observant and kind of just like not taking initiative yet, it's almost like you're biding your time
Mm.
before you say anything, before you express anything. And then I don't know if you know Gabrielle Bernstein. She said one time, if you ever have to make a decision, whatever it is, no matter how small, no matter how big, has don't make a decision yet. Wait about 24 hours and then, right? So sleep on it kind of thing, right? Or meditate on it, sleep on it kind of stuff. Um, okay. Um, what else was there? But with this job too, because it's tied to also some kind of service, it's tied to servitude. Again, watch out for communication styles like greediness, curiosity, enthusiasm, because it could go either way, right? But it depends. It depends on not just how your energy is, but I just saw this short, it's actually a short, but it wasn't that short on YouTube when Bashar was giving a transmission. You know Bashar, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he says that we don't really understand the law of attraction, that the way it works is it's not that what is it? It's not that we're not attracting things. It's the fact that we made this choice to not be drawn to it. So if it's coming to us, we resist it. If it's not coming to us, we look for it. It's the op. It's like no. So it's like that whole chasing sort of feel, that energy, right?
Yeah.
But it's more like that's why we flow with life. That's why that's really what it is. It comes down to flowing with life. So if there's an opportunity that comes to you, you're open to it. You make plans, yes, but you're always in the present moment. It goes back down to really being in the present moment. So I feel like this is tied to that energy with the job itself. Um, it's like I said, biding your time, so to speak, right? But enthusiasm and all that stuff is more natural when it comes from within, right?
Yeah.
Um, let's see here. There might be some connection there with the galactic family. I don't know if you're into the galactic stuff. At that job, there might be something there. I don't know if it's galactic related.
Okay.
This far mysterious but attainable abilities is part of this one. Directed or focused on certain outcomes or decisions. Divine downloads, inspiration, like I said. So it could be tied to this, but again, it's kind of very challenging. Depends on the certain circumstances. It's circumstantial, right? So any sort of divulging of truth, revealing of truth, truth manifesting. Your senses might be high up there. I don't know, because you already have your Mercury in Leo, so you're very intuitive. It's very like I don't know if you have connection with angels. That's one of your
Yeah.
gifts. You do? Okay.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Um, so your sixth sense will be part of this one as well. Uh, maybe competitiveness. I don't know. Watch out for that. Could be healthy competition, of course, right? I'll be that.
Yeah.
A lot of things that are it'll push you in a way that's kind of push you sort of, I guess, in toward that initiative, that sort of your north node in Aries. It might push you a little bit more in that direction. This job will also have certain traditions and customs. Again, it's multicultural. Um, but there might be some who are maybe some people there. I don't know. I'm not saying that this is a fact, but there might be some people there who are either they love foreigners or they don't love foreigners at all. Uh, Lots of like support. There's probably a lot of support here, or again, could go either way. Um, it feels like it's almost like I wouldn't say it's a I don't want to say the word cult. There's a sort of a ceremonial feel to this job. It's almost like this, there's a tradition to it, right? Would you understand
Mhm.
that? Okay. Okay. Um, what else am I seeing here? Arts and crafts. I don't know if there's something connected to arts and crafts for this. I know that we didn't really talk about that in terms of this job being a creative outlet, but I don't know. Could be natural learning tied to this one. Um, is this close to body of water, this job? Close to a
Uh,
river, body of water? No,
no.
no. Okay, no, that's okay. So, tests and trials might be part of this one as well. So watch again, that's part of that. I don't know if it has connections to journalism or that kind of area. Um, Maybe it's tied to sustainability.
Yeah,
It is? Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. Let's see what else here. So if it's tied to that kind of stuff, because what I feel for you is because you have strong fire placements, you do want inspiration. You want to be, you just want to like, keep that fire going, right?
Mhm.
I want to see where actually, you know what? This is so uncanny, but it happens every now and then. Let's see where, actually, let's go to the transits. Wait a second. Uh, Sorry, I don't want to bore you or anything like that. Fire signs kind of get bored sometimes.
Fine.
I'm just kidding. I got a joking with. There you go. I knew there was something there. Okay, so you have Vesta in Aries as well, conjunct um your North Node, and what that means is you are actually guided by. So do you ever talk to the archetypal energies of deities?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so do you talk to Vesta or Hestia?
Uh, Neither. I've got my own
Okay.
people there.
See if you can do that because I have vested too, and I sometimes talk to her. I don't really talk to her. I just said before I go to bed, I just said thank you. You assume that they help you right away because they're there to help you, that archetypal
Uh-huh.
energy. They're there to, she's about standing your ground. She's about purity. She has no form. She's about Kundalini energy. So basically life. She's about
Uh,
life energy, right? Being in the moment. That's very child, it's very tied to the fire signs, very tied to fire energy. You're just living in the moment,
okay.
right? Okay, goosebumps, confirmation. Um, I didn't expect this. Someone's telling them they love you. I don't know what that is. I can't, I'm sure. Okay, later, sorry. Um, but anyway, so they want to come in. Okay, well, this is an astrological can you come back later, please? Sorry, they're like pushing it. They just sounds they really love you. They really care for you. They're with you or something like that. Just okay. I'm sending them the message. Okay. 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 Let that go. So Vesta is one of those things. It's funny how the moment I said that, she's like, it's almost like she's definitely like she's definitely with you. Let's look at what else Vesta is about here. So she's about sacredness. Certain sacrifices, but I would say the word sacrifice isn't necessarily the traditional use of the word sacrifice. I like to kind of revamp this and call it sanctify, right? So you make it holy, you make it part of yourself, you make it part of what resonates with you. Uh, so she's really the life force energy, like conscious source energy, um, devotion, morality, but also it's tied to sexuality as well. When I say sexuality, I don't necessarily mean like your femininity, your masculinity. gender identity or sexual identity. It's not just that, but sexual primordial creative power.
Mhm.
That's Vesta as well. She is tied to the divine feminine. Many people say that, but that's because she's very just, she's about that inner strength and passion and fire. It's like undeterred, undeterred. It's just literally standing your ground. Um, what am I seeing here? Is there any? Okay, cool. No, yeah, yeah. So because she's tied to your Chiron here, which is when I talked about earlier with the wounding, to me that means that she'll guide you when you feel much like you're working on integrating the pain and the wounding and even the trauma you've experienced when you were a child, because we all go different forms of trauma. Um, but a lot of it is that sexual primordial energy. Um, I don't know if it's because she's tied to agriculture. Do you feel like you're moving in that direction towards stuff with the earth, right? Does that make sense?
No.
No? Okay. Hmm. She's about seasons and cycles. So it doesn't have to be that. You don't have to necessarily go into that direction. But did you start liking, did you like baking? Have you started to enjoy baking and baking breads?
No, I'm very bad at that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe that's okay. Well, look into that one. I don't know. Because the North Node often in astrology represents something we're afraid of that's unknown in front of us. Um, So if that hasn't, I don't know. You never know because I mean it could be a creative outlet, right? You like
Yeah.
creativity, right? So
Uh-huh.
um yeah, and farming can also be like that where it's not, I wouldn't say traditional farming. I would emphasize, it sounds biased, but I feel like it's important for the world as well. It's called permaculture. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's a return to how nature uh works in terms of fertility and growth of vegetation, vegetables, fruits, like that whole sort of very natural. It's not really like, it's kind of like in between. Technically, it's supposed to how we were supposed to farm, where we went from hunter-gatherer to settlers.
Yeah.
There's that in between where we're naturally relying on nature, but we're still working with nature, not manipulating it so that it works naturally. And we create certain layers of soil that's really, really natural. And there's no waste. It's just self-replenishing, self-sufficient, and it works in any ecosystem in the world. It works anywhere, right?
Yeah, I think I know what this is. I've gone sort of back to going back to herbal stuff,
Okay.
very much natural ways of living and
Yeah.
being.
Okay. Yeah. There's a group called Perma Resilience that I have in school. You know the website school.
Yeah.
Um, they recently opened up because what do you call this? The long story short is that the person who created this program he was given to another person, but it's the same program. And they recently, I think, was it 2 weeks ago, a month ago, recently released the program to be free. So it's not unpaid. Um, I don't know. If you ever are curious about that, you have initially let me know and I'll
Yeah.
send you the link. I'll send you the invite link to the group, but it's free. So you can access that stuff
Yeah.
worth thousands of dollars. That's, yeah. So,
Mm.
yeah. Well, let me know if you're interested in that. But and it's tied to Vesta, that agricultural stuff. Um, there's also a lot to do with fire, combustion, right? Those kind of things. Uh, why did I mention this one? So yeah, so she's pretty much there, right? So I just thought I'd mention her because I had a strong feeling that she was like, hmm, Vesta. Why is she ringing out here? Okay. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of things that could be said about this job that it can be beneficial. Um, some of the work has to be done when it comes to the whole benefit slash abundance slash prosperity slash that kind of stuff, right? Because I know that Leo wants inspiration, all that stuff, but Leo is also tied to Leo is a little bit more connected to the earth stuff, right? Leo is very much like, um, it's an appreciation of not only creativity, but what you can work with. Like the reason Leo wants to work with things or the material things in the material world is so that it can create more
Mm.
all the time, right? It's the eternal child. So let's see. Okay, so those are for those charts. How are we for time? Good?
Yeah, good.
Okay, great. So let's look into what the chart says here about the horary chart. Let's see here. You are represented by Mercury here. So let's look into career. So we look into either Saturn or Uranus, but it could also be the sixth house. So that would be Venus and also the second house. So the Moon, Venus, Moon, Venus, Uranus, and Saturn. Let's see here. So your question was, is this new job financially beneficial? So your Mercury here, 16 degrees, square Saturn. Where's Uranus? So I just saw it right here. There's a connection between Mercury and Saturn. Yes. It's a square. That answer is no. Sorry to answer your question like that, but that's what the charts are giving me. But it's also tied to where's Venus here? 29 degrees. No, Mercury is not tied to Venus here. Mercury is tied to the moon here, so it's sextile. That usually also means yes. So that actually coincides with what the chart is saying, what I said earlier. It's a yes and no. What that means is it is ultimately up to the people involved, right? So I would say when it comes to the whole thing, when it's financially beneficial, as in like, if you were to even get like, let's say, I don't know, what is that, 1,000 pounds a month, 2,000 pounds a month, even as high as 5,000 pounds a month. If you were to count it, if you were like put it into actual numbers in terms of that whole feeling of like money abundance, because abundance comes in different forms,
Yeah.
uh, work has to be put in there, right? Because Saturn is there showing me that it's like, first there's core. So core is the one that goes yes. Saturn is the one that goes maybe. But the
Mhm.
square to your Venus with Maki Maki there is showing ooh. So you have to be conscious about what your unconscious beliefs are regarding that stuff. So I would say alongside this job, your spiritual work, especially with shadow work or like things that when it comes to your beliefs, is tied directly to this. Does that make sense? Does that?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so yes and no. So to answer your question, yeah. Let's see what else we have. So your questions were the other questions you have were like your spiritual gifts, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I saw quite a lot. Actually, that's kind of natural. We do have a lot. Um, let's see here. Oh, there's a lot. Okay. One of the main ones is you are guided. What is this? Is this oh, no, just look at Amalthea. You have Amalthea in your first house. I believe she is tied to the North Node. Can be with other asteroids there, but I wouldn't be surprised. Um, Leadership skills, initiative, the the difference. Okay, not difference. It's one of your gifts lies in being able to initiate things and having courage. Of course, being present, but independence as well. Your competitiveness, can be tied to this one as well. Um, but it also means that you have to have time to rest, recuperate, regenerate, those kind of things. Uh, that's what I see here. So Amalthea is showing here that she's the cornucopia. She represents cornucopia. She's like basically the sign she's the one that represents Capricorn. It's that sort of like harvest sort of stuff. She's um she's tied to milk, meaning like this symbol of abundance. She's so you do have that. That's one of your spiritual gifts to actually have that belief. But when I say belief, I don't mean belief as in like it's up here. I mean it's in your hand. It's what you do. But it does tie in with because Aries is tied off into the head, it's tied to your imagination and how you apply that imagination and what you put it in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how
Yeah.
manifestation usually works, right? When you have it goes from an idea, and then emotion, and then belief, and then action is tied to that. Yes. So you have action. There you go. What other things do I see here? There are certain things that you might have to watch out for, and one of those is um Achilles is here, okay, in your first house as well. Achilles doesn't necessarily mean that it's a weakness, yes, but weakness, I mean, if we think about weakness, it's not necessarily weakness, it's more like hidden strength because we perceive weakness as like kind of like, well, I'm not at a level that what I was conditioned to believe. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not this person. I'm not you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
Yeah.
perfect or something like that, right? It's tied to heroism as well. It's tied to this sort of superhero complex, right? Um, so there's a part of you that wants to kind of want to go for it and want to be there. Like you're definitely you root. I would say you root for the underdog naturally, right? Or at least you're starting to in this life. You're learning to embody that, right? You don't like injustice. You just yeah. Um, So that's one of those, I would say, yeah, learning to balance things like wholeness despite perceived lack, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you're able to see probably certain things like system loopholes, the cracks in things. Okay.
Mm.
hmm So, and working with your wounds, right? Uh, there's speed definitely for you. I think you can be, you work fast. I would say, right? You do things fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're one of those toddlers, perhaps I would say, I'm not saying absolutely sure, but was very so curious about life that you just went, you go from here to there, like,
Yeah.
right? You were one of those kids. And you basically, were you also, it's also tied to your moon. Okay. You take a lot of risks. Okay. Yeah. So as a child, like between the ages of 0 and 7, I guess ongoing. It's like yeah, you probably one of those children that put things in their mouth all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Cool. Let's see what else we have here. There's a lot of gifts when it pertains to that, but it is actually more with the Achilles thing. It's more about uh self-worth. It's tied to self-worth. It's tied to material things. It's one of your other gifts. Let's see here. We have Varuna. Oh, yes. Varuna here is actually conjunct your Chiron. That means that your ability to heal when you put a lot of, when you put your energy into it or like, kind of connect things and really like get into the nitty gritty of things. Varuna here is is guides you in terms of, how you can really bridge the perceived separative notions that we have as humans when it comes to like, is this good or bad? Like,
Yeah.
what is that? I'm not saying that we should, because sometimes I feel like when it comes to, when people say sometimes there's no such thing as good or bad. Well, technically there is, but it's more like expansive versus constrictive energy. The constrictive energy is a time to process. That's why you keep it to yourself. You meditate, you go into silence, you withdraw. That's actually very, if it's through the divine feminine, as we call it, in divine masculine, it's like the divine feminine going like let's make room for this and expand that. And then it opens up to the divine masculine when it's ready to do that. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, oh, goosebumps. Okay. So um but there's also, as Bashar says, there's a third part, right? It's a triplicity, there's the neutrality, right? So that's where we sort of make decisions. So with Varuna here, you're able to make those decisions. Varuna is actually tied to a sort of timelessness. Um, but let's see what we have here when it comes to actual spiritual gifts. Um, Shape-shifting. So you can tap into your older self, like I would say not even just your higher self, but what people call, I think there's some connection with, what is that one called? That's, yeah, soul family or something like that. Like, yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
something about that. I don't know. I'm feeling that. Okay. Yep. Goosebumps. Okay. Something connection to the waters, origin myths, origins, your origins. Really cosmic, like when I say cosmic, I mean like literally like I call it your primordial sovereignty. So um yeah. So the fire within, that's also tied to that. So fire and water. Um what else did I see here? Spiritual gifts. Leadership is part of this one. I mean, anything can be actually spiritual, but your ability to connect things, working with others, working with multiple people, and really tapping into original, your origin. Let's just call it that way. And I've said it sometimes, I've told people sometimes that the only thing that's original is origin itself. So when we think about original things, like Leo loves that. Like, I want to be original, right? But there is no such thing as original works, but there is such a thing as where we come from. So therefore, we're not original, but we're also original, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Right. So tapping into that would be a natural thing for you. Or at least that would be potential gift to really tap into. Okay, there's a long list of things here. Here we go. Okay. So we talked about shape-shifting, that's tied to that. Something to do with the metaphysics of things. Um, Healing is tied to this, of course. Restoration of any kind. Working with, it's really tied to the physical. So this just sustenance, nutrition. Um, Working with natural law. Okay. Working with crystals. I don't know if you work with crystals.
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay. Things that are undiluted, pure, pure substances.
Hmm.
Um, Frequencies? Do you work with frequencies?
I do.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's one of those things as well. Okay, let's keep going. And then we also have, oh, were you ever into astronomy or astrology or both?
I've never done anything like that, but I do have an interest. I would like to
Okay.
learn.
Okay, cool. That's actually kind of timely. I have a class starting in January, and it's quite cheap. I'll tell you later. Let me know if you're interested. Um, but Urania is here. Urania is here, and you're tied to your core beliefs. So growing up, you probably, I don't know what it is. You're probably seen as very, how do you call this? It's almost like very wise. Like your family probably saw you like that. They saw you as like, oh. She has a lot of these connections. Like that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So a lot of guidance and inspiration, especially with certain things like science, nature, music, art. Not so much art, but kind of, yeah, because it's still a Leo thing, but it's in Cancer. So it's almost like you could tell uh things in your own private little realm at home. You probably practice things like divination, maybe even things like poetry on the side. Um, you have fortune telling or premonitional abilities
Yeah.
that you don't tell other people. You have visions.
Yeah.
Okay. hmm And you do get interested, or at least it's one of the things that kind of make you feel like when you're in a sort of your own little space, your privacy of your own home, um, looking to the stars. So mapping things out. Maybe you like to work with compasses, maps, charts. That's so sad because I'm not able to share the chart. Um, uh, but we'll work on it another time. I just want to keep this going. That's all. Is
Yeah.
that okay with you? Is that it's
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great. Yeah.
of course, yeah. Uh, what else was here? Oh yeah, art and music is tied to this too. I don't know if you actually did music when you were younger.
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Did.
Was it the piano? Was it something very technical?
No, I used to sing.
Oh, I was saying, okay, okay, interesting. I don't see, okay, that's fine. Let me see if that even connects to other things. How do 8 degrees, which it's trying to Lancelot. Lancelot. Lancelot is about heroism. He's kind of like Achilles. But it's more about uncertainty about himself. He's trying to fulfill a destiny that he thinks is fated, and yet it doesn't happen that way. He's very, he's duality. He represents the duality of heroism,
Mm.
um, overconfidence versus self-confidence, um, that kind of stuff, tied to a lot to self-worth, huge self-worth stuff. Um, but the gifts behind that's tied to Urania is, uh, I would say, learning fast from the situations,
Mm.
relentlessness. Okay, so that's one of the more practical gifts. Okay, uh, divine gifts, beauty, charm, and strength. That's tied to that. Now, come to the spiritual gifts. We have things like drop-ins, dream drop-ins, astral projections, visits from the dead. So do you practice mediumship or any kind?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, let's see here. Does high blood pressure run in your family? Mental,
Not that I'm aware of.
not that, okay, never mind. Okay, we're gonna skip that one. That's not your question. Okay. So, 1 second here. A lot of it is very spiritual in per se, like mercy. Let me see here. Magical or fantastic upbringing. Hmm, okay. But I feel like this one's tied to the relationships you have with others. It's almost like you can sense their. Do you astral project onto people's minds and like their dreams? Like, do you do that? Have you done that?
I, I don't know whether I am doing that, but I can read people very well, and I sometimes know what they're thinking without them even saying it, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Something about this one's I feel is tied to this one, even though it's not really spirit, but like monkhood. I'm not saying be a monk, but your
Mm.
north node is, I'm not saying be, yeah, it's your north node is tied to Vesta. She's about virginity. So virginity doesn't necessarily mean like I'm not going to have sex ever, but I'm saying, that whole like the reverence of life, reverence of sexual power, right? Where you don't just go,
Yes.
We don't just go like, I'm releasing myself, pleasure, yay. No, I mean
Yeah.
like with reverence and respect for
Yeah.
honoring your sexual powers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, monkhood, but also here's the funny part. Not funny, but cool. Dragons. So I don't know if it's tied to that. If you work with dragons before, you could also work with giants, um, things that are not often spoken about. Like, you know how people say there's fairies and all that stuff, but there are giants and ogres. Okay, that's tied to this one. So I don't know if you ever have guides like those. I don't know. Sustenance and magic. So you see how the earth is tied to the ether here, right? So the physical
Yeah.
with the non-physical, sustenance and magic. So again, it's tied to the health, but also tied to again sustainable material, like maybe medicine, right?
Yeah.
That's tied to that one. Okay. What else is tied to looking at the planets here? Anteros is tied to your Mercury. Uh, second here. Anteros was the brother of Eros. So, but he's kind of like the opposite. He's about reciprocation. So, one of your gifts is being able to again, you can read people, like you said, right? But the childlikeness about you means that you have this sort of, it's almost like I'm getting this image of you going like, when you meet someone, it's almost like, when you have a magnet and they go like this, they go, it's almost like that kind of energy. I'm getting this sort of, you're having this sort of like this, when it comes to reading people, you go like this, I can read you, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, that's what I'm getting. So, let's see here. Definitely like a lot of like sympathy, cordial, fraternal, amiable love with people. Like it's because you have that childlike mind. It's like there's very the softness to it. But it's also Leo, so it's kind of just like, come here. You know, just enough, not control per se. Uh, so there's a lot of mutuality as well tied to this. So what you read in other people might be also, or what you express about yourself with other people also gets them to express themselves, right? Okay. Let's see here. That's I would say that's a spiritual gift because you're able to do that. There's something about that whole reciprocation thing going on there, right?
Mm.
You can also read people from a distance. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so yeah, that's right. And there's more to that than there's more than meets the eye with that one. You're seeing here bonuses, so there's something about it's almost like you can read people and you can read what's behind it as well because you can feel, right? You can, yeah, especially when they're in a higher state, like when they're open, it's automatic. Um, Being tied to Venus, your south node. Oh, you have two asteroids there. You have Spartacus tied to your south node, so you're very freedom oriented, like your past lives. Because one of the gifts there is being able to, you understand justice so much. We already talked about this a little bit.
Mhm.
Spiritually speaking, I would say it's like you just have this strong connection to what humanity needs. It's almost like you can definitely lead them. I can see you as this sort of, I'm seeing this sort of like this kind of like I'm a big fan of Xena, the warrior princess. I can see you in this sort of like armor, so you can be like not wielding and hurting people, but just that kind of representation. I can see you doing that and just
Yeah.
like and you're going like this, you're going charge, and I'm like it's kind of like that kind of energy. I'm getting that
Yeah.
from you. So very much like Spartacus and all about having that what freedom really is. So much, not so much about physical freedom, yes, but also like mental release, mental freedom, psychological freedom, all of it, right? So I can feel you just as a connection. It's almost like I'm seeing this image of going like, when something lands, when something lands and in the superhero movies they land and then there's like the
Yeah.
what do you call that? Not sand, but like the debris comes out like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I know what
But
you
you're
mean.
not even doing that. You're just standing there and just going like this, like that. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, cool, very cool. What else do we have? Hebe as well is here. So Hebe is tied to. How are we for time? Oh, are we okay for time?
6:32. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Hebe is all about rejuvenation. So again, the whole thing about restoration. We talked about the whole like um, being able to recuperate, heal. Um,
Mhm.
there's also it's also tied to. Oh, that's interesting. It says here switching jobs and lifelong employment. I know it's not the spiritual gifts, but I feel like, oh, that's interesting. Huh. So you have both. Okay. I feel like, have you ever thought about not working for one of those temp agencies, but having your own temp agency?
No.
Okay. I don't know. Might be an idea. I don't know. I feel like it's because it's both switching jobs. It says here switching jobs and lifelong employment. So if that's the case, then isn't that like kind of like a temp agency? But instead of being the employee, you are the employer. Does that make sense? It
Yes,
doesn't
that could even be self-employment as well. I have considered
exactly.
that. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Well, it's
Yeah.
tied. Yeah, that's perfect. That's tied to the Aries thing. Yes, very
Yeah.
independent. Yes, there you go. So self-employment. Yes, absolutely. There you go. Thank you. Um, it says here sexual potency tied to the North Node with Vesta there. That's yeah. Keep looking at the spiritual gifts here. 1 second. Because we have here ambrosia. It's tied to ambrosia. It's almost like your divinity is it's really there. Um, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like hmm. I don't know how to describe this. This is a little tough. Okay, I'm kind of tongue-tied. But do you get what I'm saying? Like she's Ambrosia to me feels like it has a lot to do with your ability to okay, it ties in with the Leo. Okay, sorry. Your ability to make people shine just like as you shine. Because you're feeding them the gifts from within. It's almost like I'm seeing you going like this. I know it's kind of gross, but I'm seeing you spewing out ambrosia and you're going like this, right?
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a pure energy that goes like proof, and just I'm going to feed this to you. So I would say you're imparting inspiration. Imparting inspiration, I think, is one of the spiritual gifts. It's kind for some people it might be taken for granted, but I feel like you do it naturally because it is from a past life. So yeah, that's why you're in this life, in this there's that positioning in Leo. That totally makes sense. Actually the fire as well.
Yeah.
This also, by the way, includes any sort of like physical stuff like anti-inflammation, anti-aging, alkaline, antioxidants, uh, collagen. So collagen, like putting things together, HRT, the human voice. So I feel like this one is really tied to the spiritual gifts, where it's like you're trying to reduce stress in other people,
Mm.
because you do have that. You get a lot of that in your node, your lunar nodes, your north node, south node. To me, being in the polarity of Libra and Aries means that stress is one of those things you deal with, or at least you have dealt with, and you're trying to release all that. But it's tied to the endocrine system or the stress hormones and adrenal, suprarenal glands. So the head and all the way to the kidneys. So when you release all that stuff through like a lot of drinking, right, de-stress, you do the Wim Hof method? Because I do. So that's why I do the
No.
cold shower. Oh, okay. It's eustress. It's a form of eustress. It's natural stuff. Um, if you want to look it up, it's up to you. I know I've given you some stuff earlier, but he's all about eustress, not de-stress. De-stress is what we get from society quite often still today, right? So, but eustress is like working out and releasing all that stuff. DMT is part of the, anyways, lots of gifts. So, but I found that when I did the Wim Hof method, is it actually enhanced or even brought forward my clairs. So I think you already have it, but if you want to boost it up, it's up to you. There's the Wim Hof method. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing here. So, okay. What else do we have here? Your moon, 29 degrees. Oh, okay. Um, I would say this is a kind of, mm, you heard about Sisyphus? You've heard about this character?
No.
Okay, so he was the one who tricked the gods into, um, he manipulated the gods in terms of like that he wanted to rule others, but he was basically a tyrant. So he tricked people and, um, but he's about working hard at something. He's the character that goes, that the rolling up the hill, the boulder rolling up the hill,
Ah,
that's
yeah.
Sisyphus.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Sisyphus. Yeah. So he's typically about, working hard at something but not feeling like it's going anywhere. Fruitless labor, right?
Right.
But it doesn't have to be fruitless labor because if you think about the imagery of like the analogy of the going this way, isn't that flowing against the current? Shouldn't it be the opposite? So that's exactly what it means. So you flow with the
Mm.
current, not against it. Then
Yeah.
things like your natural gifts will come through as well, right? It doesn't have to be toil. It could just be experience,
Mm.
right? Yeah, right.
Okay.
Toil to totality, if that makes sense. Toil to totality. Uh, I love what's that word? Alliterations. Whatever. Anyways, um, let's see here. Spiritual gifts with this one, of course, is oh, have you ever thought about working with DNA?
No.
Okay, 'cause there's something about what you do that's probably tied to that, but it's let's see here. It's tied to what things, yeah, it's actually tied to what things you might enjoy. Something about DNA per se, not necessarily changing it, but it says here DNA alteration or transhumanism. It's tied to the Philosopher's Stone, cryonics. So things to do with, uh, well, it says here the HeLa cells. HeLa cells are like the cells that continue to keep us pretty much alive. Like,
Mm.
what do you say alive, but like I think they're called eternal, or what do you call that? Immortal cells or something like that. So it's something tied to this one. So life extensions. I wouldn't say necessarily because we need to extend life, but rather to extend more of the figurative or symbolic meaning behind that. Like,
Okay.
what is anti-aging in the first place? Is it actually aging itself, or is it more like if we're just present in the moment, then time flies, but we're not really aging per se. It's
Yeah.
like this is what, yes. So the youth, real, the fountain of youth is literally found within, not out, not external. It's internal, not external. So it's this one. So like stuff like when we eat less frequently, we have lower metabolism, so to speak. But at the same time, our immune system works super well, right? Um, like I can speak, like, I can attest that because it's I eat once a day and it's crazy. People think like you're crazy. You do the Wim Hof method and you eat once a day and you become vegan, yada yada, whatever. The point is that's my journey. Point is whatever your journey is, it's something to do with the whole this is part of that.
Right.
Um, but because it's tied to your moon, and tied to your North Node actually indirectly. I feel like it's tied to helping sharing your wisdom and your philosophy with the world, especially like with like a business. So this is tied to the ninth house, which is financial stuff as well, like big business. Not so
Mhm.
much, yeah, this is not your employer. You are the employer. You are your own boss in this case. Um, so it's tied to that thing with Sisyphus here, which is like, I don't know, anti-aging, so to speak, again.
Yeah,
Um, so
interesting.
many things here. There's actually the lifespans, life expectancy,
Mm.
elect I was gonna say electroshock therapy. Because there's this different methods that have been done in the past to extend life. But what they're doing is they're of course looking at it from the physical view only. What you can probably do is take it further into the quantum field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So what else do we have here? Tied to your we have Jupiter here tied to Lilith. You know Lilith? You heard of Lilith?
No.
Okay. She was the first wife of Adam,
All
and she
right.
was when in the story or the myth or whatever we call it, it's she didn't want to be below Adam. So Adam represents systems. Adam represents the system, the what do you call this? The diluted masculine or patriarchy. Well, not patriarchy itself, because if you were to say the opposite in matriarchy, it's kind of, but the unconscious patriarchy. So, and she didn't want to be part of that. So she said, "Fuck you," and she just went like, sorry, I don't mean to pardon my French, but she just basically rebelled against God and said, and then she had babies with demons. So they're all figurative and symbols of really owning to your own truth and what is it that you want. It's tied to basic needs. It's tied to what Teal Swan puts at basic needs. Actually, your Lilith here is square your Jupiter, but Jupiter is square to your moon. So that means, is it square to your moon? Hold on. Oh, it's not square to your moon. I thought it was. It's square to Uranus. Okay. So but it's retrograde. Lilith here is retrograde with your Jupiter retrograde. Retrograde in astrology means that it's pulls back. It means that it's done internally. There's a focus. It's something that we need to concentrate on and hone our energies like onto because we don't really understand it or our soul wants to really understand it. Right. In
Right.
this case, it's about understanding your inner subconscious desires, particularly pertaining to growth, expansion, your sense of bounty, your sense of your subconscious understanding of what is it that makes you feel good about yourself to grow, to expand,
Mm.
very expansive energy. It's in Pisces, tied to Lilith here. So it's more about what is it that you really like, what is your subconscious telling you in terms of like what do I want with in terms of like how I expand and transcend rather than escaping the ego, it's transcending the separation between ego and non-ego and really including both and saying what are the gifts of the unconscious ego versus the conscious ego so that it manifests itself into the actual transcendent process that we all have.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mm.
it's beautiful here. So but Lilith is adding to this whole like, what is it that I really want? Do I want to test the world or is it do I want to test myself? Right? It's
Yeah.
not so
Yeah.
much, yeah, that's right. So it's shadow work. A lot of it's shadow
Yeah.
work. Uh-huh. Which can tie in directly with your um spiritual gifts as well. Because she is also tied, by the way. And this is more like in your own little space, a little time to yourself. It's a little bit like privacy as well. So this includes like what's the word I'm looking for? Clandestine affairs. Okay, so very like kind of not to be secretive, but it's more like it's my personal thing. Like
Yeah.
meditation is personal. It also includes like your hidden talents, right? Things that you kind of forgotten or kind of just like, I don't know if I want to do that, but if you give it a try, you never know. This
Yeah.
includes, it's not spiritual per se in a way that is like more energetic, but it is tied to this. Working with protection spells or amulets, magic, witchcraft, sorcery.
Mm.
Um, it says here spiritual possession. So that could be literal, like, what's that word? Exorcism. It doesn't have to
Okay.
be that. I'm just saying possession could also mean like what the person is subconsciously going through that they're not dealing with. Because if you deal with it yourself, you can help others do the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Because
get that.
what we attract, right? It's what we draw in ourselves because we're resisting something that's naturally flowing versus grabbing something that is like not for us. Like, why? Right? So, this includes other things like I'm trying to look at the other stuff here as well. Be careful about working with demons, of course. People say, oh, they work with demons. Like, you cannot work with demons. You just have to, no, no, no. I mean, we're talking like the dark energy. Bashar has something to say about that. It's that constrictive energy. We have to be careful about those things. We can't just play around with those things. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Uh, I don't see anything else. So yeah, shadow work. It's really tied to shadow work. I wanted to go quickly into Uranus here because we have Uranus conjunct Balder. Balder was the god of fame and fortune and fortitude. But he's also about short-lived things, incidences, fame itself. He's like a kryptonite. He represents the kryptonite. He's kind of like the Achilles heel,
Mm.
but he's also about courage and all that stuff. So because it's in your eighth house, actually it's tied to your ninth house. It affects your ninth house more than the eighth house. So that means like your philosophy, big business, the business you go into. Um, let's see here. New age stuff. New age meaning like could be new age or new age things that are new. Um, People who probably experience, let's see if it's tied to 10 degrees. Oh, it's tied to Proserpina here. So people who've gone through violence, people who've gone through being abducted, because Proserpina, she was abducted. She's Persephone, um, but she's the nicer version of Persephone. Persephone is the Greek version. Proserpina is the Roman version. Um, I mean, I did square. It's trine. So trine aspects in astrology often represents that it flows with that energy, and in mixed interpretation, like sort of like, okay, so this is what's naturally happening. Because it's tied to Proserpina, she's about being taken, abducted, but not necessarily violated per se, kind of, because again, she's a nicer version of the Greek original. Um, so having sort of boundaries, remember we talked earlier about, well, I said earlier about um, protection spells. Do you
Yeah.
do a lot of like shielding? Do you do a lot of like, okay,
Yes.
that could
Most
be
often.
sort of, yeah, setting your intentions. Even though sometimes we think those are kind of like something we just say, but it's actually powerful when your intentions are strong, right? Comes from the heart. For you, it's definitely the heart. You know this, right? I think you've heard of this. The heart has a bigger magnetic field than the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't need to tell you, you know this. uh, What else is there? Something about sacredness. Okay, this one's tied back to the North Node in Vesta, sacredness. Um, Working with again the subconscious as well, like nightmares, any sort of competitiveness, things that are harmful for us, um, things that are in probably like Mm, wounds themselves as well, physical wounds, but also like actual, any other type of wounds. So it could be like bleeding wounds, like bleeding, spiritual bleeding, if that makes sense. Kind of like, being drained out of your energy, your life force kind of thing. When I say drained, I don't necessarily mean drained. You can't really be drained. Your true self cannot be drained. It cannot. But if it feels like that, then kind of get them to own back the power that they gave away, right? That kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That's very important, I think. Um, spiritually speaking, like in terms of actual, like let's say modality, so to speak, maybe prophecies, we already mentioned that, dreams and visions. So this probably includes dream analysis or people helping people with their dreams as well. This is tied to more the big business stuff, not necessarily like the one you work for, your
Yeah.
big business. Yeah. Dreams, visions. So could be visions that you get, could be being visionary. It could also mean like, okay, dream dropping, sure, whatever. um, but there's something about that. There's something about the dream. You get what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
feel like you do a lot of dream work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. What else do we see here? Balder, I think that's about it. Um, and sometimes it's okay that it's short-lived. Sometimes maybe you'll just go to something else, but that's part of that whole process. You're able to, do you practice premonitions or do you get into that? Like, do you foretell, predict things? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh,
Yeah. That's how my gifts started opening up.
oh, my,
Premonitions.
you should talk to my boyfriend. He's resistant towards, not resistant, kind of. He's also Leo. He's like, I shouldn't predict things. I was like, but if you think about predictions as not something that's set, it's almost like telling them the possibility, but it's still their choice. Because it was like, no, predictions are not set. It's not a set in stone. So I keep telling him that. But well, I don't stop him anymore. I'm just present with him and just like, okay. Yeah. But anyways, what else do we got here? Uh, okay, let's go to the other chart. Thea, that means a lot of gifts, a lot of gifts, a lot of gifts that you can reincorporate in terms of what you can do for your, not only your big business, but like part of your philosophy is
Mm.
to open up to even more gifts, which is, I'm not, I don't doubt that you're doing that. Um, so your inner divinity, inner spark, being neutral, being also kind of like a mother, kind of like that mother energy, or being a queen or a goddess kind of thing. But it also includes goddesses. Oh, there you go. That explains that. Okay. Are your connection with goddesses, particularly goddesses, do they change often? You go from here to here. Did they come in randomly for you?
I don't work with goddesses.
Oh, but you said you work with deities. Didn't you say?
No,
Oh, you don't. Oh, okay. Okay.
no.
Well,
Maybe
you
I should.
can try. You can try. Yeah. I, I, I find that cool. Like I've done some reading for people. I'm not going to do it here, but I'm very curious who might come in. I don't know. Maybe for next time. Would we have time if I have a quick look?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't prepare for this, but that's fine. It's here. Let's see what we get quickly, okay? Let's see if we can wake, yeah, anyways, we'll see. Are there any deities that want to come in for Kelly? Actually are working with her. Please come through. And please come through gently. I'm seeing a figure. Is this Medusa? Oh my God. She has like snake hairs. Okay. Technically, she's a goddess, but um, it's like she's very like there. She's floating. She's lots of hair. It's black. Something. Okay. She's flying. She's doing this whole thing. Like she's flying. She's going up. I follow her. Okay, she keeps going up. She keeps flying. It's almost like she wants to be like the superhero thing. But then there's someone coming beside her, like flying beside her. She looks like Supergirl. That's interesting. Who are you supposed to be? Okay, let me see. They're telling me to mind my own business. What? We just want to know. Sorry. Okay. Would you like to reveal yourself to Kelly? No. She said in time. Something about that. Okay, and then they're going through like some sort of like a, I don't know if it's a wormhole. They're going this way to get sucked in. Okay, well, thank you for showing me that. Um, are there any other deities that want to come in that have already been working with Kelly? Please come in gently. This is trickster? Is that a trickster? You're not Loki, are you? No. Would you like to reveal your name? Not yet. Okay. Or they're not showing themselves. Again, like frizzy hair, something about that. Something about the hair. They keep showing me like long hair, like
Mm.
these. Okay, well, thank you for now. We'll revisit this. Thank you for showing yourselves. You don't want to reveal yourself, so that's okay, but thank you. Okay, so they keep showing me the hair stuff. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look up your chart and I'm going to see um, where Medusa is here. I feel like there's something about Medusa here. And I'm going to look up Loki as well. Loki is tied to Koronis here, your Mars, sextile to your Mars. That's why you don't connect with, well, in this case, you might have a challenging connection with Loki. You've heard of Loki, of course, not just
Yeah.
yeah, the myth. Yeah. Um, I don't know what else who has big. Hmm, let's see. I know that Vesta is a definite one, but let's take a look at. Because they might be able to help you find. I mean, your angels will do that too, but sometimes your angels they live in their own time, right? So,
Yeah.
um, when I say own time, as in divine timing.
Yeah.
Oh, Persephone is tied to your past life. Ooh, could talk to Persephone. She's a goddess. I don't know if there what's tied to your sun here. Technically, Proserpina. Yeah. So I feel like there's something about Proserpina and Persephone. So they're tied to your sun, tied to your south node. Okay, what other ones? Are you giving me something else? The moon. No. Sorry, one second. Oh, one of the fates. Ooh, that's interesting. Klotho. She's the one who works with destiny. She is, I think she's the one who who holds the thread. Um, 1 second here. Yeah, she's about destiny, resuscitation, suspensions, transitions, defibrillators, reanimations, that kind of stuff. So you have connection to the life-death cycle. Not to say you're, I'm just saying I feel like it's more about more about the contracts you get into. This is the seventh house. More about the contracts you get into, the agreements you get into. You get to choose what it is, basically. Either you begin it or you end it. Begin it, end it. It's up to you. It's like you have these scissors, like the fates have this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's the one that carries the scissors. So, there's something about her. Usually when I work with the fates, because that's my past life, I have connection with the fates. I don't see it in your chart though, because if you do, let me just look up Moire. I want to see where it is in your chart. Because if you could do, you could work with them too. Ah, you can. But when it comes to the integration, the shadow work stuff, yeah, can. Yeah, they can work with you. They're called the Moire, Moirae, or Moira is a short for that, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'll look that up.
yeah. Um, so going back to Thea, so she's really about a lot of gifts, right? Um, being like a mother, vitamins, minerals, what do you call this? She said, sorry, I'm gonna exclude steroids here, but I feel like strength. There's something about strengthening. It
Mm.
says all kinds of gifts and abilities, right? So that literally means that's a lot.
Mm.
That means like you're going into many things. Again, okay, here we go. Back to, sorry, before I go into concentrations of energy. That's why, okay, remember what I told you about earlier? I feel like there's something about concentrated and pure things.
Yeah.
This is tied to that as well. So you have the gift of, you're able to concentrate your energy into something. It's like a focus.
Okay.
Especially with your moon in Sagittarius, you have that potential to really hone in and focus that arrow and be like laser focused. Um,
Mhm.
Something about glowing in the dark, object like luminescence, sunlight, but that's so showing being the light in the dark for people as well. Stellar magnitude is tied to this. Um, Photometry, bioluminescence, that's kind of the physical stuff. High frequencies, you said you work with high frequencies.
Yeah.
Um, Speed of light, okay. Psychic abilities, premonitions, dreams, okay, that's part of that one. Sound, loud sounds, no. Do you feel like you have a connection to large animals, like like whales, elephants? No? Okay, that's
Never
fine.
tried to connect in that
That-
way, but
That's okay. You could.
interesting.
Yeah, you could. I think it's what did I see here? There's something about that. It's tied to it can be 15 degrees. Hmm. It's in the house of transformation. So it's usually most likely just tied to the shadow work that you would do.
Mm.
Um, yeah, maybe
Okay.
these large animals are supposed to, I don't know, look it up. Blue whale, specifically blue whale,
Yeah.
African bush elephant, the colossal squid, and the lion's mane jellyfish. So I don't know if you worked with animal guides before. I don't know. You never know. Right. The candle thing, you do the candle thing? Do you do can you look at the candle and then you see and then you meditate after you look at the candle?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can do that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That happened for me. One of my animal guides showed up. It was like, that's interesting. I didn't okay. Well, I was just going with it. And they were just standing there, just like, that's cool. And then another guy came through, but it was like a Native American. It was like, I don't even ask their names. I'm just like, it's not into. Yeah. So anyways, um, let's see what else we have here. Being able to flow, I think elasticity, there's something about elasticity here. So going with the flow as well. That ties in with your moon in Sagittarius. Um, okay. So working with the, what is this one? Natural adaptations, phenotypic or adaptive traits, growth hormones, or somatotropin. I know goes more along with the medical stuff, but it is tied to this, like your pineal gland. It's called the anterior pituitary gland. I don't know what that is. Anterior is back, I believe, right? Anterior pituitary gland, the pineal gland. Intelligence is part of this as well. IQ and EQ. AI. How do you feel about working with AI?
I think it's really interesting.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
open to it.
Because apparently they represent the response we have as human beings and our connection to our own evolutionary intelligence. They kind of, there's something there. There's a connection. So,
Mm.
hmm, okay. I think that's about that for spiritual gifts for Thea. I think that's that. There's other stuff too. Like a lot of it is tied to really um inner abundance and sorry, I'm kind of lost right now. You see, I'm seeing here Algira, no, Alicanto. It's like this mythical bird in Peruvian. I think it's Peruvian mythology. Um, but it's more about your communication there, something about the subconscious.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of gifts? Working with the earth is also one of them. Um, one of the things to watch out for is like if when people don't believe you, I'm sure you've kind of learned through that. It's like, I think Gaia will be there to support you. Gaia is definitely a goddess. She's the earth
Yeah.
herself. Um, but integrate what Gaia just does. I'm seeing here Gaia is opposite Cassandra. Cassandra was she had prophetic abilities, she had visions, but nobody believed her. She was also what do you call this? She was actually raped by Neptune, or is it Poseidon, and then accused by Athena for being lewd and like, indecent. But when she was like, no, she's the victim. So when it comes to these kind of things, release it to Gaia and Gaia will just replenish that. And there's something about replenishment there. And I don't know what it is. I feel like there's a voice and there's a part of me that going, Gaia will be your vengeance. When I say vengeance, I don't mean like, but something will come about and I would say, really trust in your prophetic abilities. Although it says here it's square your sun. So sometimes, do you sometimes question your visions? Or at
Hmm.
least you do? Okay.
Yes.
Because it's tied to self-worth, I know. So why is that? Would you like to share that? Is that okay?
I think it's probably just my own subconscious programming. There's some shadow work to do around that about trusting myself.
Hmm.
Because from a intuition point of view, I know that I'm very connected,
Hmm.
but it's when this steps in.
Okay. Ah, that's why I'm seeing here. There was I just noticed that. You have there's verbal abuse, powerlessness, with your hidden gifts. You have a lot of hidden gifts. They're tied to the earth. Looking here at, there's a character in mythology called Koronis. Yes, it sounds like coronavirus, I know, but the taken for granted skills and unusual gifts or talents, abilities, um, wounds that cut deep. Yeah, see that's kind of stuff. Yeah, because I feel like there's something about that. As a child, there was some sort of abandonment when it
Mm,
comes to that.
yeah.
Were you adopted?
No.
No. Okay. Ah, it's more about your communication. They abandoned the way you express yourself. They didn't acknowledge it. You were, yeah, I can say, sorry to hear that. That's why. So do you work with bringing forth from here to here? Do you work with all that stuff and release it? Even singing, that's why you sing. I get why you sing now. Yeah. It helps you communicate. Yes. Huh. Have you ever done anything like where you sing and then but you use words as kind of like spells and enchantments, not for others, for yourself and release, and then you sing it?
No.
Okay,
Maybe I should.
good try. Yeah, because I used to sing too, but mm, I'm more direct with my thing. But if it helps you kind of do that, maybe do kind of like a, I don't know. Have you tried just doing it in front of a mirror? That's part of shadow work too. You can do it in front of a mirror and sing to yourself. Pick a song too. You can pick a song too that goes like that. You probably like I love this song. It's called Brave. You've heard of the song Brave by sorry. For some reason Alanis Morissette came. No, no, no. You can be amazing. You can be a Bareilles. Some Bareilles, something her name. What?
I'll Google it.
Brave. I got it. I got it. Sarah Bareilles.
Right.
Bareilles? Bareilles. Yeah, sorry. Um, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. Yes. Um, yeah, that kind of stuff. And so now you surround yourself with people who do validate you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Especially when you express yourself, that's important too. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yeah. And then you learn from those gifts and you thank the people who suppress those gifts, especially with communication, and be like, oh, I learned that that's not what I want. Gabrielle Bernstein, I don't know if this will help anyone here watching or for yourself, but Gabrielle Bernstein said one of her prayers, she says, is, thank you for showing me what I do not want so that I may know what I do want. That kind of stuff.
Mm.
So same thing, same energy. So yeah, so there's that. So a lot of it is tied to the passion that you have and drive you have with working with the physical and working with people and learning to express that as well. Especially now, there's something there where you're shifting or you're expressing yourself, your self-worth more. I saw that in the previous chart. So, but I think that answers, did that help you? Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, that was intense. A lot of
Oh, sorry.
information
Okay, cool.
and
Awesome. Okay.
yeah, a lot of things that I completely resonate with. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. But keeping opening up those gifts, I get it again, it's tied to your subconscious. People say subconscious. I don't know if you've heard this. Bashar actually says that the subconscious is not actually there. It is there, but it's also out there. Because if
Hmm.
you look at the triunal brain, have you heard of the triunal brain? Triunal brain? Yeah, the
Yeah,
lizard. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So with the oldest brain being there, it's tied chronologically speaking to linearly and chronologically speaking to what's older. Therefore, if it's older, it's not as dense, I would say, because the way I see it is like, dust particles, if you just go they become dense, right? But chronologically speaking, from the beginning, they were lighter. So therefore, anything that's older tends to be lighter, tends to be more higher, expansive, and more. vibrational energy, right? And then, so that means that when it comes to the lizard brain, that's why it's the subconscious, or it's tied to the subconscious. That's why it's actually there and also out there. So when it comes to the gifts we're talking about that you asked about, plus the journey you're taking, it's really like down here, quote unquote, down here, and also out there. So it's both. So that's how
Yeah.
you find your gifts even more. Yeah, the deity thing is interesting, but you don't have to work with them, right? But yeah, work with anyone. The ogres, the giants, the witches, whatever, and all that stuff. So you're pretty much like everywhere. So yeah, be open to those things. And yeah,
Yeah.
if you're curious, if you find something new that you're tap into, let me know. I'm just kind of curious. Oh, maybe I'll try that. I don't know. You never know. But yeah.
Yeah. Will
Okay.
do.
And I think that's
Amazing.
everything. Sorry, I wasn't able to show the chart to you're okay with it, but for those people who are
Yeah.
watching, sorry, but I'll fix that later. Okay. I'll let you go. You having your thing, and good. That was like 2 hours. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. That was amazing.
No problem. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll send you the link as possible as soon as we're done, and then I think that's about it. And we'll talk later or something. I don't know, whatever
Yeah.
flows. All right. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. I'll
Thank
see you later.
you.
Right, have a good night. Thank you again.
Yeah, you
Oh,
too.
and Merry Christmas if I don't see you later or something.
Yeah. And to
Okay.
you
You
too.
too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, comment down below. Questions, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and see what you think of it. I know it's a long video. For those who have held on all the way through, great. Welcome to discipline. Welcome to devotion. Welcome to things that I find are very fruitful and beneficial in the long run. I'm a strong believer in that kind of stuff. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I've yet to do other things I'm promoting something, but I don't know exactly how to do it. Just stay tuned. There's other things, but there is something I'd like to announce for those who will be watching this near the end. I will be opening classes for beginner astrology. It'll be at a cheaper price, affordable price for many, and because I've had quite enough experience to at least teach something. I also am a certified teacher, so I do teach. I cater to teaching it to you, but the way I'm going to do it, or the way I've been doing it before, is to actually go right into it. So what you'll do is you'll be working with cheat sheets. You'll be I'll guide you through the whole thing. It's very organic. I like it to be organic. It's catered to your experiences. I try to make it tie. I try to tie to your learning styles. Okay. And yeah, so as a language teacher, that's what I do. So it's very fun. It's individualized, or at least I try to individualize it. It's very specific to you, so that you're actually picking up more than just learning. I don't just believe in learning. I believe in actually acquiring things very naturally, as natural as I can make it, especially online. So, but yeah, so stay tuned for that one. Well, not stay tuned. There's one coming up in January, so let me know if you're interested. I'm not sure how to do this in terms of like how to connect with me directly here. You can message me, I believe, directly on Instagram if you have any questions. I do have to watch out for fake profiles and all that stuff, so you're gonna have to introduce yourself and tell me what you want and what you're here to offer. The more detail you go into, the more it's gonna be like, okay, yeah. So if you're interested in a class that's very catered to you, look at my other channel too, where I do language acquisition videos. You'll see how I basically teach. You get a feel for it as well. Well, I don't really teach there. I just show I don't believe in teaching. So anyways, that's it for now. Again, if you like it, like and subscribe. Comments down below. If you have any questions, let me know. I will see you guys another time. And because it's the holidays, happy holidays. May every decision you make be based on your co-creative desires with intention, that you manifest things through specifically going with the flow and attracting to you what you are already being asked to be attracted to, rather than the opposite. No resistance to the present moment. until it is following your highest excitement, Bashar. So anyways, see you guys later. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.